jibber jabber. Don't be babbling like a fool. Say what you got to say. That's all. Then shut your dang pie hole.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Johnny.
All right, everyone, he's back in the bunker. Welcome to the Prepared Mind channel. Oh, well, I got a little riddle for you today. I'm going to show you something. It's an ancient medallion. I want to see if you guys know what this is. Just a little something there. Well, I'll even go so far as to show you that side. There you go. See what you think of that. For those who like mysteries and puzzles. And folks, we've got a mystery wrapped inside an enigma surrounded by a tortilla shell on this Taco Tuesday. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. Time for the monologue and the Q&A. And yes, I am still all fired up about everything. Is it a clown world or is it a shit show SHTF world? The answer to the question is it's both. It's absolutely both. We are in big trouble, folks. We're risking World War III. We're risking economic meltdown. We're risking energy meltdown. It is off the hook crazy. All right, Jolene is going to be bringing me some questions from you guys. So get your questions in the comment section. Do it now. And yes, I'm going right to the tap. There it is, just like mother's milk. I got it. Boy. Here we go, folks. Here we go. Are you ready? Are you set? Let's get into it. Taiwan has fired at China. They fired defensive fire, folks. They're calling it defensive, but it's firing at China nonetheless. Now, they're firing at drones. For the first time, they're firing at drones, but those drones are owned by China. Is this an act of war? Or is this an act of aggression that China can respond to? Now, they fired at them. Did they fire a warning shot at a drone? As if a drone's like, whoa, I just took a bad signal there. I'm going to get the hell out of here. Or, did they really try and shoot them down? Or did they just fire in the air and see what China's response would be? Did they fire at all or not at all? And they're just using the press to put that out there that, yeah, they see the drones and they're firing at them, and to see what China's response is just to using propaganda. That's right, folks, using propaganda. Get me your questions right now. Get them in. Jolene's going to pass them on. Woo! Okay. Right. China. Is China, what is China doing? Who is China? Are they good guys? Well, they're our trading partner. Are they bad guys? I don't know. What I can tell you China is doing is they're yanking the chain of the U.S. They're yanking the chain of Europe. What do I mean by yanking their chain? Well, they're pulling everyone around by their nose. Guess what? Oh, yeah, folks. China is taking Russian gas. They're buying gas from Russia and they're reselling it to Europe. That's unbelievable, right? What Europe has managed to do is put a wholesaler between Russia and themselves for the energy they need. Unbelievable, folks. Yeah, those sanctions really hurt Russia. So China is bitch slapping the world going, okay, if you won't buy from the source, we'll get it, sell it to you, and just mark it up 50%, 100%. Who knows what they're marking it up? And Europe, folks, Europe has to pay. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. This is where it really does hurt. This is where yanking on the chain hurts. It's not the European governments that are going to be punished. Folks, governments in Europe don't have any money. They don't have a treasury. They don't have a treasury like a giant vault full of gems and gold. They don't have that. All they have is a bank full of IOUs, and they're telling the people of Europe that they have to pay. I want to hear from Remy. I want to hear from, well, how about Vincent in Belfast, Ireland? How about Steven in England there? I want to hear from our European crowd what the hell is going on, what they are seeing, what we're not hearing about in America that they're dealing with on a daily basis. Folks, the farmers are still protesting. The farmers are still being told they have to cut their crops and cut down on livestock, basically cut down on making food. And if you watched this morning's broadcast, Zero Dark 30, I talked about that a little bit, didn't I? It's incredible. Oh, by the way, I actually did that one twice. Whew. I recorded it and I looked and it was on mute. I was like, oh, this can't be true. And so I had to do it all again. Anyways, incredible what is happening out there, folks. It's clown world. Those sanctions really hurt Russia because they'll sell the gas, they'll sell oil, they'll sell coal, they'll sell nuclear or uranium energy products to China to sell to the world at a markup. Russia wins, China wins, the people lose. We're getting the shit into the stick, in other words. Oh, man, I got more for you, folks. I got more for you. Let's see. I want to hit all the real heavy-duty stuff. I hate it when I get to the 30-minute mark, and I'm like, I've got another 4 or 5 really powerful stories. So let me get down here through, right? This is a powerful one, and I hinted at it in the morning video. Well, I can't remember if I hinted at it in the first or the second one. I don't know. Anyways, let's get back to it. The Canadian Deputy Prime Minister was verbally attacked, given the what for in Alberta, Canada. Now, I think, folks, what this means is even all those polite Canucks, and I like Canadians, folks. I really do. They're very polite people. But I think they are at their limits, at least the most extreme amongst them. So if you look at people, population, right? And the top 5% are your real go-getter, pissed off, New York, Brooklyn types, right? This little teeny bit at the top. But they've had it. They're now at their wits' end. That means everyone just below them, the next 10 to 20% of the population, isn't far from the same reaction. Now, Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, Little China, invoked the Emergencies Act for the first time in history and basically froze financial accounts of protesters, no due process. So on Friday, Freeland, this deputy prime minister, right, born in Alberta, Canada, was trying to get on an elevator in Grand Prairie City Hall. And there was a man there, folks, wearing blue jeans and a sleeveless T-shirt. It sounds a little bit like Larry the Cable Guy. He called her by her first name, and she turned and replied, yes. And the video is out there, folks. If you're at thepreparedmind.club or at subscribestar.com, you can get the links to these videos. Anyways, a blistering, eye-watering, right, tirade, you could call it a shout down, commenced, right, that continued on and on until those elevator doors closed. There was Freeland. She and 3 other women were smiling and kind of hiding in the elevator. But this is what the guy says. And I'm going to have to clean this up a bit. Seriously, folks, a Canadian whose language was so coarse that even I am going, man, I better clean that up a little bit. Or YouTube, Google, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and the President of the United States is going to sanction this video. So he says, quote, "The fuck you doing in Alberta? You fucking traitorous fucking bitch. Get the fuck out of this province. You're a fucking traitor, fucking bitch." the woman, there's a woman with this man, and she kind of added to it and says, "You don't belong here." And then another man showed up and told him, "Hey, get." And so this shirt sleeveless Canuck says, "Don't tell me to get. I'll walk off on my own power. Okay, so back off. Fucking back off." That fucking C-U-N-T, that's the word I got to clean up, shouldn't even be allowed in Alberta. She's destroying this country and your kids are going to have no future, okay? I hope you get it. Somebody's got to get it because we're the only ones fighting for this country right now. Folks, those are fighting words coming out of a Canadian. People have had it. Seriously. They've had it with the bullshit war in Ukraine. They're not buying this bugs are on the menu crap. Unbelievable. I don't know if you're going to hear that quote that I just read that this man spouted off at a deputy prime minister in Canada. But we'll cover it here. Folks, I cover as much as I can. I really do. Because it needs to get out there. People need to know and hear this. The mainstream media won't touch this, folks. They won't touch it. They won't. Folks, the mainstream media are not even the news anymore. They have failed. Absolutely failed. No surprise, I know, coming to you, but what I'm expecting you to do is hit that button right up there. Copy the URL and share this video. Like, subscribe, share, right? All these things. The mainstream media is, folks, here's an example. The mainstream media is fake news, bullshit, propaganda. The Washington Post is losing money this year, folks. They're not making any money. They're losing money. They're in the hole. They're negative. They're zip, zilch, nada. They're underwater. They're going to fire 20 newsroom employees. There's some news for you. Washington Post are going to have to cut their staff. Well, they say they may have to cut. We'll find out, folks. That's how bad the mainstream media sucks, how bad they hurt. That's why I say, if you want the truth, facts, come here, listen to what I have to say, think for yourself, make your own decisions, and then share this video. Be sure and hit that thumbs up. Be sure that you're subscribed. If you're not on, right, if you're on YouTube, be sure you hit subscribe because I'm going to keep telling you. Go to thepreparedmind.club and sign up for our premium service. It's only $2 a month. 7 cents a day. How much is Joe fucking Biden costing you a month? $600, $700, $800, $1,000 a month people are paying higher than they used to pay for fuel, for food to feed their families, for goods, for services. The inflation is crazy. And I'm like, Jolene, did we, you have to answer in the comment. Did we see the inflation and raise our cost? Did we raise our premium service prices? Did we in any way allow Joe Biden's inflation to affect our premium members? No, it's still only $2. Thank you, Jolene. She is the best, folks. She kicks ass, takes names, and gets the job done. And that's what we're all trying to do here. Whether it's Chris P. Bacon or Ooh Man in the background with the big blue wrench, right? We're all doing our job. All of you researchers out there, from John to Fuzzy to Blue to Darcy T, right? To Heidi to Christine, to the other John, and then the other John, and then the other John, because we never know which John I'm talking about. Not to mention my brother Jimmy, and then, of course, there's Roger. And Roger, folks, he looks like he's turned 3 shades of red. He's so pissed off at what's going on. Oh, my gosh. Let me take a sip and chill a bit here in the bunker. You work 16 hours a day, it starts to wear on your patience. All right. Fake news. How about a fake war? And no one gives a shit about it anymore. Remember this thing, folks? Remember For the last 3-4 months, all we heard about was Ukraine and how we need to support Ukraine and give money to Ukraine and send people to Ukraine to die for Zelensky and give them goods and military weapons. And we should send our own weapons to Ukraine. And if you don't, then you're a traitor to freedom. I mean, it's all this shit, folks. No one gives a fuck. Right? The question mark, is there Ukraine fatigue? Well, there is so much Ukraine fatigue that people are like, what's Ukraine? What was that all about? Right? In England, folks, no one gives a shit because of the hyperinflation that they're suffering under. Right? We're still $2 a month, but in England, it's off the hook, folks. Europe, if you look at the graph of energy cost over the last 5 years for Europe, it goes like this. It goes sideways and up a little, but just regular old inflation. And then it goes straight up. We're going to see shit similar to that here, folks. We're going to see similar to that. Especially if we have more war kick off in Europe. And you're like, more war? What are you talking about? You talking about all those Russian cars that are driving to Helsinki to get into Europe? That's right, folks. There's still countries out there that don't give a shit, and they need the money. They need the wealth to come to their country. But enough about Finland. Let's talk about Turkey. Let's talk Turkey. A little Turkey talk. Turkey says that Greek missiles locked onto its F-16s over the Mediterranean. Mediterranean is neutral water, right? Well, Turkey has been pissing off Greece for years, sending illegal immigrants into their country, forcing Greece to suffer. I know Turkey is the second largest NATO military. Turkey. But isn't Greece a member of NATO? Someone help me out there. I'm confused. I'm lost. Is this NATO versus NATO? Or is this a non-European NATO country threatening a European country? Greece. Either way, it's a fucking head scratcher and could result in war. Remember that kind of region, right? On the eastern side of Greece used to be this country called Yugoslavia that's now broken up into a bunch of little republics. You got Serbia and Croatia and Macedonia. They still don't have back Dalmatia. I've got some family members that hailed from Dalmatia. You could call them Dalmatians, except they were just white. They didn't have any black spots like the famous dogs. Let us move on, though. Oh, yes. One more reminder. Get your questions in. This is going to be the Q&A, and you're only going to have your questions answered that you put in the comments if you come to the Q&A on thepreparedmind.club and subscribestar.com. We prefer to have you on thepreparedmind.club because also, and you don't even have to be a member to sign up for our newsletter on thepreparedmind.club. That's free to everybody. That's free to everybody. Just a little taste of the good stuff. Anyways, let's continue. Let's continue. So Taiwan shot at some drones. Greece locked on. In other words, folks, they didn't light them up with missiles. They aimed a radar dish at them and locked on. Oh, the tragedy, the horror. Folks, highway patrol all around the country lock onto your vehicles with radar. And if you were fucking up bad enough, they'll lock onto you with a pistol. Yeah, it's just as deadly. Shit happens all the time, but, this is war. Well, guess what? In Baghdad, as the death toll rises during the night, you have chaos over there. The U.S. Embassy anti-air defense was activated. What does that tell you, folks? The United States government is scared. That means the Iraqi civilian government is failing to control the country. It could fall, folks, to what? Who could Iraq fall to? Iran? How about the Taliban? or some other radical, anti-Western, anti-Christian, us factions could take control of Iraq. I still want to ask the question. It was such a good idea for Biden to abandon Afghanistan and just give it back to the Taliban. $85 billion. $85 billion worth of equipment, military armament, helicopters, high-tech shit, folks, even drones, right? Iraq could be next. I mean, the Taliban is setting its sights on Pakistan, but its other neighbor, Iraq, makes you wonder, are they going to become some sort of radical terrorist superpower? How many billions of dollars in equipment will the Taliban get if they take over Iraq? Empty shot glass. What are we going to do about that? Oh, good golly. I'm going to give you a little humor. We're at 21 minutes and counting. I want to ask you about this, right? Do you pity or feel sorry for anyone who wishes death on gun owners, threatens American gun owners, and wants the destruction of our Constitution and our republic? Should we have pity or feel sorry on anyone, especially someone who claims to be an American? Should we have pity or feel sorry for a politician who's running for, governor and has run for president in the past? Should we feel sorry for them or pity them? I say, hell no. No, not if they wish death on gun owners and death to the Constitution and death to our republic. Well, Beto O'Rourke, one of my least favorite people on the planet. I mean, I'm sure he's one of your least favorites as well.
Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore. Hell yes, hell yes, hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15. Hell yes, your AK-47. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15.
Oh, hell no.
Hell yes.
I love that. Beto O'Rourke, guess what? He was hospitalized, folks, as he was campaigning across the state of Texas to run for governor. He had to cancel all his events, folks, right? But he's going to hold virtual rallies, from his bed? I mean, he claims to have a bacterial infection. I think he has monkey buttocks. That's what I think his problem is, folks. Beto O'Rourke. He was hosting rallies, folks, I think in people's garages, in the coffee break rooms of small businesses. Beto O'Rourke is a turd, folks. He hates America. He hates the Constitution. He hates the Second Amendment. He hates guns unless they're in the hands of the FBI and his puppet law enforcement agencies. I don't feel sorrow or pity or remorse over the idea that this pile of crap, this stingingly stupid clown, Beto O'Rourke, is hospitalized. I'm done with him. I'm done with trying to have mercy and trying to see things their way. I'm done. I mean, in the past, I've entertained conversations, and I still will entertain conversations. But these people are absolute abject morons. Crispy Bacon has told me a few stories. So has Kaz and Uman and Vaughn and many others have shared with me their encounters with idiot Democrats. And folks, right, it's on. Now, when I say Beto O'Rourke, I could be talking about Biden. If he is actually double juicinated, folks, and double boosted, and I think he's even double Paxlovided, I don't feel sorry or pity him if any of his health issues come as a result of that. He knowingly made that decision. I doubt he really took that stuff. He was falling apart, folks, before the election. He campaigned for president from the basement of his Delaware dive. Unbelievable. And folks, the federal government is still pushing its lies, right? So what do we see? Coast Guard cadets, folks, they're being ordered. Coast Guard cadets, that other branch of service, the Coast Guard, very important job. They're ordering their cadets off campus in 24 hours unless they get the Jim Jones juice. That's right, folks. The unjuicinated Coast Guard cadets, they're out of there. It's like, wait a minute, I thought we were told that the Jim Jones juice doesn't inoculate you, doesn't protect you from getting it, doesn't stop you from spreading it. The last string on this rope that they're hanging on to was, well, it's supposed to reduce the seriousness of the symptoms. How do you know? Well, everyone who takes it has less symptoms than people who don't. Really? Is this about health, folks? Or is this about a political purge of our military branches of service using the Jim Jones juice as the reason to get rid of people who say no to government overreach and a violation of our constitutional rights? It's a political purge, in my opinion, folks. No pity, no remorse for any of these people at the top. The loser, Lloyd Austin, Secretary of Defense, can suck it. They're still pushing this lie, folks. They're pushing the lie. Okay, get your questions in. It's getting close. We're getting closer to the Q&A. And I want to end my section. Oh, by the way, I want to thank Mr. T, who's come up with some great Zero Dark 30 intros. And I'm going to have a new one for you tomorrow because, yes, indeed, folks, I'll be getting up in the wee hours of the morning. I'm doing all I can to make sure I can stay on the air with you guys daily. I know everyone is struggling, folks, and I want to thank you, honestly, thank you for supporting us. Every last one of you supports us in one way or another. And one of the biggest ways that is the most important is sharing that internet address on YouTube. I mean, we're on BitChute, we're on Rumble, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're all over Facebook, we're all over social media, folks. And get this is incredible. We're pushing harder than ever. And we crossed, folks, 82,000 subscribers, crossed that threshold. And YouTube took a hammer and started beating them down and unsubscribing people again, and we dropped back below it. Unreal. Anyways, let's move on. I got this one last thing, and then we'll get to you. I want to hear your thoughts, your questions, your comments. If you're going to do a joke, make sure you write it so that even I can read it and tell it and be funny. But yeah, get your questions in. Comment, prediction, the future, the past, history, prognostications. Here we go, folks. Joe Rogan told his audience, which is millions and millions and millions, he kicks the ever-loving shit out of CNN and the mainstream media as far as the number of viewers. He has a long show, just like we do, a very long show where he sits down and talks to people and shares opinions. He has now told his millions and millions and millions of listeners to vote Republican. This is incredible. I mean, it wasn't more than, I think, a couple years ago, if not last year, where he's like, I'm so independent. I could vote for a Democrat or an independent person or a Republican, right? He played that card. I'm not going to tell everyone what my political affiliation is. I think he has seen just the incredible fuckery coming out of the Democrats, which, of course, I can't see how you can't see it. So he's telling everyone to vote Republican. His audience consists of centennials, millennials, zillennials. I don't know, all of these new generations coming up, as well as millennials and Gen Xers like me, because Joe really is a Gen Xer, I believe, and even boomers that I know listen to him. So yeah, millions of listeners. He's saying vote Republican. I would love to add this for Mr. Joe Rogan. How about telling your listeners to think like a conservative, a constitutional Republican? Think like a constitutional Republican. I think that would be best. I really do think that would be best. Yeah. Unbelievable. I still got a bunch more, folks. I got a bunch more, and I'm running out of time. I can't help it. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to let you guys jump in. I've got a bunch more. But I'm going to do this. I want to get to you guys and give you a chance. It is 2 for Tuesday, so I'm going to do 2 of you guys in a row. 2 for Tuesday.
Are you ready?
Here we are. Okay, Jolene, let's see who wants to step up first and slap some people across the head. No one better than Chris P. Bacon. And he checks in and says, just in. And I want to thank you for this, Chris. I appreciate it a bunch. He says, Mikhail Gorbachev, a.k.a. the affectionate name given to him by Americans, Gorby, the final leader of the Soviet Union, has died. It was an interesting thing, folks, to live in the 70s and then grow up in the 80s and then watch as I grew into a man and then a Marine, that Mikhail Gorbachev started working with President Reagan on glasnost, peace. And the Iron Curtain fell, and the Berlin Wall in Germany that separated the East Germans from the West Germans fell. And then, folks, the Soviet Union crashed. The reemergence of the country known as Russia emerged. And not the best thing for them, but here we are. Thank you very much, Chris. Hope you had a great day. I had kind of a weird day, man, as you can imagine, and you are well aware of. Yeah. Up, down, up, down. Okay, Jolene, we got a 2 for going, and we got Rick. And this is what Rick says. See, this is why I like you guys coming up with stuff like this, right? You think. You look around and you think, right? Rick, I got a message from Ron today. Anyways, he says, I think Trump is playing a game of distraction with the left, putting his pieces in place, replacing rhinos with real constitutional Republicans, and he nominates DeSantis instead of running again. With Trump's endorsement, he wins easy. Keep the comment up for a little bit here, Jolene. I've got some comments to share on this. I really agree with you on some of this, and I'm going to disagree with you on others. You guys, the audience, you get to think about it for yourself, right? I think Trump is putting his pieces in place. Is Trump the ultimate 5D chess master? No, I don't think so. But I think he's got a strategy, and I think he is playing it. He has done marvelously well, endorsing Republican candidates as America firsters and pushing the idea, the notion, that Republicans are not unified. Is that important, folks? Are we splitting the Republican Party in two? Well, the, shall we say, establishment rhino pieces of shit would have you believe that, like Turtles Mitch McConnell. Oh, the Republican leadership isn't in line with this Trump character and his America First campaigning. No, sorry. Those people, yeah, they got a lot of power, folks. They are the power brokers, the big swingers. But there is a growing movement amongst all Republicans across the entire country to go America First, and Trump is pushing that. I think it's brilliant. We've got this election now. Already, folks, in the primaries, Trump's candidates are winning. What's that tell you? Trump is at the top of the Republican Party with real Americans. And America Firsters, real Americans, want these candidates. It's scaring the shit out of Turtles McConnell. It's scaring the shit out of Kevin McCarthy, who is trying to sound like a real constitutional conservative. So that's where I agree with you, Rick. Where I disagree is that Trump is going to step aside and nominate DeSantis, Governor DeSantis of Florida, who is the greatest governor, folks, I think, since Ronald Reagan was governor of California. I can't think of a better governor unless we go all the way back to when Reagan was governor in California. And I say that with the greatest of admiration and respect for the Gipper. Okay, now, DeSantis running again. I don't think Trump is going to step aside. He loves the limelight, and he has, folks, you might say he has an axe to grind and some scores to settle. What do you think? If you have an opinion or a little piece of information you think to argue for or against what Rick is talking about, get it into Jolene. Folks, dissecting every little piece helps us understand the overall picture better. It truly does. If we can make a piece in the mosaic of the SHTF picture, if we can make a piece more refined, more perfect, it will make the entire picture clearer. Now, I don't think DeSantis, I think Trump wins nomination of the Republican Party easy. And I think that Trump defeats any Democrat. I mean, who really do they have, folks? Kamala Harris? Right. She won like, what, 1% of the Democrat vote in the primaries in 2020 or 2019? Pete Buttigieg? Bernie Sanders? I mean, he is, folks, an avowed communist pile of crap. And he had a huge percentage of Democrats, especially the youth, supporting him. Cracks me up. These people have no idea how deadly, literally deadly communists are. Fucking morons. Anyways, DeSantis, I think he's going to hang on to Florida. I think DeSantis is a more useful piece on the chessboard, and I'm going to give you my reason why. DeSantis is setting an example as a governor for what other constitutional Republican governors should strive to be. Right? If we didn't have a DeSantis, who would be the next best governor currently? Governor Abbott, who's trying to do a good job, but he is no DeSantis. Right? So DeSantis is what other governors can look to and go, maybe I should be more like that. Folks, the people I know in Florida love Governor DeSantis. The Democrats absolutely hate him. But Florida, folks, because it is free, because DeSantis is such a good governor, because he's going after these leftards like you can't believe, stopping this critical race theory, all of this gender bender nonsense with children in schools. He's putting an end to this shit, folks, along with the cerveza bug crap and the mandates for Jim Jones juice. He's killing it. The people appreciate it, and the world, folks, the world of America, people are relocating to Florida. It's an awesome topic, Rick. I want to thank you for bringing it up. I really, really do. Great topic, and we have more. We've got a lot more great topics. Hey, Uman slipped in here. He says the Saudis are doing the same thing. They're blending Russian oil with Iranian oil to hide the chemical footprint. That's interesting. It really is. That makes sense. And I don't know how you show a chain of custody for oil, right? It came out of the ground. If it was a little thicker or a little thinner, so what? Right? I mean, really, when a tanker of oil shows up at port, say in Germany or England or France or Italy or Spain or Portugal or anywhere else, do you think they run out there with a little test kit and pull some oil out and then demand to see chain of custody on where the oil came from? Well, they might, I guess. I don't think that the European nations are really that serious. They need Russian energy. But yeah, you certainly could camouflage it because there are trace elements, trace chemicals that show up in certain countries' oils. So if they got a batch of oil with chemical X present, they might say, well, that's exactly what Saudi Arabia has. But it could also have trace chemical Y. And they go, wait, it has Y. Normally, Saudi Arabia doesn't have that. So we may not let this oil stay. I don't think so. I really don't. I really think they're going to take whatever oil they can and accept whatever paperwork exists. Now, before I could get to this, Uman jumped up there with a really good topic, but I wasn't quite finished with DeSantis. I recalled that DeSantis said there's going to be a reckoning of Dr. Anthony Fauci, Dr. Doom, Dr. Dark Helmet, Dr. Dipshit, if the Republicans take Congress. He's calling for a reckoning. He's calling for it. He's saying, hey, real Republicans in Washington, D.C., if you get power, you better call that little evil elf, subpoena his little ass, put him under oath, and if he lies, arrest him. Wouldn't that be something? Oh, he's going to lie. Have no doubt he's going to lie. Whew. This is what he said, right? He was talking. This is Governor DeSantis talking to Dan Bongino, who, by the way, said the biggest mistake of his life was taking Jim Jones juice and believing the government. Yeah, you're a fucking moron for that, Dan. Good God, what were you thinking or not thinking about? Well, government's so good that I'm going to trust them. Really? Brilliant. Well, when it comes to health, I think the government has my best interest in mind. The federal government doesn't have your best interest in mind when it comes to national defense, the economy, our monetary system, our medical system, education, the law. DC is a cesspool of lost intelligentsia that wound up in a blender and got shredded. Anyways, DeSantis told this to Dan Bongino. He says, if the Republicans take control, we need a reckoning on all of this. Right? During the pandemic, Fauci, quote, Fauci, folks, criticized Governor DeSantis. Criticized me every step of the way. And DeSantis says he was wrong on all the important issues. DeSantis, folks, is not letting up. But I don't think that 2024 is going to be his. If we take, meaning we the people, we the constitutional people of this country, if we get a majority in the House of Representatives and God willing, the Senate also, if we get that, then that is going to show the left. Oof, they're in big trouble. They're in big, big trouble. Crack. Snapping the old neckaroo. And the Democrats will panic. And the Democrats will have to pull lie after lie, stunt after stunt, and even false flags, folks. They can't afford to see the legislature swing Republican, swing towards freedom. Because when it does, and to what extent it does, we can't guarantee because of the cheating. But to the extent that it does, it's going to send a message, folks, to not just Turtles McConnell and the rhino shitheels, but it's also going to send a huge message to the Democrats. If you think 2022 was rough, you wait until the 2024 election. And why that is so important, folks, is we have just started this recession. Recessions, folks, can typically last. It's typical for them to be 2, 3, 5 years. Normally, though, they start, the economy's cruising along and it kind of dips over a few years and then it just kind of slowly gets better and then climbs back out of it and we start going, kind of up again. But a recession is where it goes up and then dips down and then continues again. Well, we're going to see this other kind of recession where it kind of goes like this and it's been slowly down. It's going to dip straight down. And then maybe if we're lucky, it'll round out quickly and start coming up. Who knows? But what I do know is that the 2024 timeframe is going to have the recession in it during the campaigning and election season. And then afterwards, the people are pissed. You think they're not going to blame Joe Biden? You think they're going to buy this ridiculous Democrat National Committee talking points story of bullshit that this is Trump's? Sorry, you bought this pile of steaming dung. Yes, he did, folks. Yes, he did. What do you guys want to talk about next? Let's go with you. We got Latin American Preparedness checking in. He says, uh-oh. The FBI raid on Trump could lead to an espionage indictment. Snowden is facing espionage charges. Well, Edward Snowden, I think that Julian Assange is as well, yes? And so Latin American Preparedness asked this question. Do you agree with Trump being set up and with the reason for the indictment? I do. I do think that Trump is being set up. I think Trump is being set up by the FBI, the DNI, Director of National Intelligence. I think that the CIA is involved, right? Remember when we discussed Peter Strzok, right? Another evil elf. Was at the beginning of last week, I believe, or maybe the week before. But Peter Strzok's little head showed up. It was the week before, right? This little squinting evil bastard, right? Showed up that he's on paperwork for the CIA, but we were told he's part of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Who is this guy and who does he work for? And is our own FBI infiltrated with our own CIA? That's like, someone's AIDS being, right, compounded with somebody's monkeypox. Yeah, they both are anal devices. Now, Snowden is facing espionage charges. He's a whistleblower. He exposed the United States government for its crimes against the people and its violations of the Constitution. Folks, right now, there are huge numbers of FBI agents who are blowing the whistle on the FBI. And I'm glad to hear that there's, more than a dozen now? More than a dozen FBI agents are saying, yeah, got a problem here. Got a problem. Not a problem. You know that, speaking of the government, Marge Taylor Greene, she was swatted twice. We covered that, I think, with a great deal of adequacy. Right? And thank you, Jolene. A great deal of adequacy. The swatter has gone online and wrote this, quote, "Give all this information to the FBI. I am ready for them to find me." He taunted the FBI, right? He gave them his URL, the chat / messenger service / ability, the way that he did it. Now, I don't really think that this person is all that powerful, a hacker, a super sleuth. What I'll tell you is this person who swatted Marge Taylor Greene, that is sent armed police in a SWAT unit to her house because there is a threat of violence. I think that the MTG, the Marge Taylor, the big Marge Taylor swatter, I think that person is the FBI. I would put money on that if I was at a Vegas table. Now, the FBI, folks, likely won't do a thing about this. Well, I'm ready. Come and find me. Here's my internet address. Right? Considering their history at the FBI of targeting Republicans and freedom lovers with censorship, political imprisonment, raids on conservatives, like President Trump. Given their propensity to do such things, I doubt they're going to do anything. Folks, if they didn't do a damn thing about Antifa or BLM, and they haven't done a damn thing about anything else, in fact, there's stories out here about this fucking FBI agent, Tim Tebow, who opened the Trump investigation. He was escorted from headquarters. He was the FBI agent. There's actually an FBI agent in charge of investigating voter fraud. Tim Tebow took an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and he intentionally fucked up, didn't do his job. All right. Jolene's letting me know we got more super chat donations. No, wait, I said that wrong. Super chat donations are in the background. Up front, we got questions. We got Uman. He says, DeSantis needs to stay in Florida to keep that state strong and set a good example to other governors, I say, and get ready for the coming civil war. Uman continues, keep him on the straight and narrow. They'll cripple him just like they did Trump. That's if he's going to Washington. And then Uman says, I'm not sure he's able to stand up to the shit slinging. I tell you what, DeSantis has taken a whole lot of arrows over there in Florida. I see the news reports. They attack him left. They attack him right. They send in the race baiters. They send in the master baiters. They send in the Antifa, BLM, idiots pretending to be Nazis and white supremacists. They send in the media after him, trying to accuse him of all manner of whatever, illegality, corruption, immorality, right? And it all bounces off of him. The man is bulletproof because he hasn't done anything wrong. Now, that won't stop him, man, because Trump really doesn't appear to have done anything wrong because they don't have any real charges. But like Trump, DeSantis would labor under attack after attack after attack of false charges. Okay, let's move on if we shall. We're running out of time here. We got less than 9 minutes left as we chug our way through the Q&A here. Vincent Boyle, here is our good buddy from Belfast, Ireland. Thank you, Vincent, for chiming in. And he speaks, folks, to the inflation, the hardship that the Irish government is suffering, making the people suffer under. He says prices are going through the roof, 40 to 60% from the start of the year. Glad we are prepared. God bless you, man. I tell you what, being prepared is a couple of things. You're ensuring your family's safe and they can eat. You're protecting yourself against the demands and actions of a state hell-bent on bringing you under their domain by making you suffer. And also food, folks, preps, all of them, but especially food, are now an investment. Between the time you bought them and the time you consume them, if the food you bought, let's just say it was a can of Spam, $2. Now a can of Spam, I'm hearing, is $4, as high as $6. Unfreaking believable. Let's move on, Jolene. Someone dropping something on the lid. All right. We got an account ant. And he says, John, the Bigfoot story was awesome, and I'm going up north soon camping. I'll be staying at a location where Bigfoot sightings have been reported. Enjoy. I don't know where you're going up north, whether you mean up north to Washington or Oregon or just Northern California. But Bigfoot, folks, is real. Bigfoot is some kind of thing. But I'm glad you enjoyed that story. That video I recorded way back when I was in the fifth wheel, when I lived in California, and I thought for posterity, I've got to get this story out here. And I've actually had several Bigfoot encounters. You spend enough time out in the woods, folks, and I would dare say if you've got the right DNA makeup, for some reason, certain people are more prone to being zeroed in on by the Bigfoot, right? If you're going to go up there and look for them, be careful what you ask for. Additionally, look and learn what all of the indicators are for Bigfoot, right? It's not just going to be a big footprint in the dirt or the mud. They have a language. They have a way to communicate, right? Very tricky animal. But once you learn all of these things, you're going to discover that they're out there. And they're a lot closer to humanity than most people realize. And I mean that on many, many levels. Let's do this. Let's continue if we shall. And we've got Gary D. He's got a question. He says, the more the left calls, MVEs, etc., the more I want to arm up. Thoughts? MVEs. I just drew a blank. What the hell is an MVE? The more the left calls MVEs, the more I want to arm up. Thoughts? Well, I'll tell you what. While we get the MVE answer, I'll tell you why it's important to arm up. So as soon as we get the MVE answer from you guys, once again, I'm throwing it back at you guys. I want some answers out of you. MVEs. The more I want to arm up. Folks, the founding fathers, the intelligentsia of philosophy that existed over 200 years ago. Oh, militant, violent extremist. Yeah, why don't they just keep calling us militant, violent extremists, domestic terrorists, neo-Nazis, right? Neo-white supremacists, but militant, violent extremists. They just can't. Okay, you're an extremist. You extreme right wing, right? And then they're like, well, that's not good enough. We got to scare people. So add violent extremist, VE. That's not good enough. It's now violent, military, extremist. Scare the people. It still doesn't work. It's not enough. I really wanted to do that and show you guys. Right? They keep adding words onto it, kind of like the lesbian and gay community got, well, lesbian, gay, and bi. The LGBTQIA and zoo people, fruitcakes. They're all fruitcakes. All right. Let's put up his question again there, if we shall. Arming up. I want everyone to see the question again. The more they call us names, the more he wants to, right, arm up, get more self-defense items, more freedom seed spreaders, more freedom seeds. That's right. The more the government calls you a domestic terrorist, a domestic terror threat. I mean, to be called a terrorist, it's unbelievable. The more the government in D.C. or your state government or your city government wants to crack down on, suppress, ignore, violate the Second Amendment, the more you know you need to have the very thing they're telling you no. What did you and the rest of the world need during the Cerveza madness? All of the scare tactics. What did you need more than anything else during the Jim Jones juice push and then mandates? What you needed was information. Information from doctors, experts, people with strong opinions, people who could take all the information and put it together, coalesce it, and then genuinely and intelligently articulate what was going on and explaining, right, an opinion that you could understand. Well, they had to silence it. They had to remove that. No more talking about the elections. No more talking about Cerveza bug. No more talking about the Jim Jones juice, right? So by calling people extremists or violent extremists or militant violent extremists, calling patriots terrorists, calling parents domestic terrorists. The government, the federal government, and all other governments are telling us who they are and what they want for us. Just like Beto came out. Beto comes out and was honest at one point. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15s. Hell yes, we're going to take your guns. Well, I take them at their words, folks. And when they don't tell me the truth, you can tell that also. When they say, oh, yeah, we're not going to take your guns. This isn't about taking guns. This is about common sense gun control. Give me a fucking break. All right, I think we got one more that I want to get to, folks. We're down to the last minute and a half. And there it is. Crispy bacon. Thank you, brother. He says, never wrestle with a pig. You both get dirty, the pig and you. And the pig likes it. That's right. The pig loves to get down and dirty in a big pile of shit. Right? They sling shit. They are shit. And this comment comes, and I know what it's about. It's about talking to Democrats, laboring under the delusion that you can explain to them a fact, a truth, and that they will recognize it, change the way they think based on reality, and then become one of us. They will never, folks, accept any information you ever give them. They will never take the information you give them and actually think about it. And they will never, ever, ever listen to your information, accept it as truth, incorporate it into their thinking, and then change their mind and then become just like us. It'll never, ever, ever happen. Ah, man, I love you all. I hope you have a great evening. Get prepared. I hope that you have a fine time with friends, family, dinner, and loved ones. Get prepared. I want you to share this video with everyone else. Share that internet address if you're on YouTube. But get to thepreparedmind.club and sign up for the newsletter and sign up for our $2 a month premium service. It keeps the lights on. It keeps the spam in the cupboard. It keeps Jolene rolling. It keeps Ooman at the helm. It keeps Crispy Bacon torquing that blue wrench over the head of people that he considers to be pigs. God bless you all. Semper Fi. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Tune in tomorrow, folks. This is a never-ending clown world and shit show. And Crispy Bacon says, now go get those Tuesday tacos. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Chris. Tuesday tacos. You know me too well. I love tacos. I love Italian food. I love Mexican food. I love Asian food. Some used to call it Oriental food. Love that stuff. I love ethnic foods. Well, at least the most common delicious types. You guys be cool. And above all else, be safe. Get prepared.